Hello.
Hello, Jim. I think Jim was waiting for you to say hello to
No,
him.
sorry. I was therefore handing the torch over to you, Simon, to do your mine host thing.
Right. Hello, Jim.
Hello, it's very nice to be here.
It's very nice to have you on the show. We appreciate you. So this is not like a retrospective then, Jim, but this is Mark and Linda's choice. Three of your back catalogue. What do you think of the choice of three that they've made?
Well, I think I probably said that these were three I'd be very happy to see again. But so I'm pleased with these.
How many?
On some level.
How many films have you made that you would not be pleased to see again?
Oh, I don't know. Some of the early ones I've never seen again, and probably I'd be cringing if I did. See, I saw David Mitchell the other day, who wrote the book of Cloud Atlas, which I'm doing, and I said, "Oh, I'd love Ghost Written," his early book. He said, and he winced. The idea that, oh God, I would never. Oh dear, it just makes him feel so uncomfortable. But and he said, "Is that the same for you?" I said, "Oh yeah, absolutely." But then he said, "But surely not Topsy-Turvy." So I said, "No, not really. No, Topsy-Turvy is different."
Well, tomorrow's going to be good because actually it's a real selection. Topsy-Turvy, which is and it's lovely to have that in the Garrison because it being a theatre, it's wonderful because it sort of fits that. Longford, which we'll play a clip from in a bit, which I think is just an extraordinary piece of work. Obviously, Tom Hooper and Peter Morgan worked together several times, and it's the story of Longford is a very interesting, conflicted character. And then Sense of History, which was directed by Mike Leigh, but which you wrote.
Yeah.
And so that was nice to have that.
Yeah, it's his only time he's directed a script by somebody else, so it's on my little.
Did you go to him and say, "I've written a script"? Would you because since he only works from his own his method of screenplay writing, which nobody understands fully.
Well, because it's a monologue. When I wrote it, I sort of put it down on audio tape on cassette straight away, so I sort of could remember what it was, and it was only me talking. So I put it down on cassette in character. And I told him what I'd been up to, and he said, "Oh, let's have a listen." So just as a friend, so I sent it to him, and he said, "Well, let's do it." And it being a Mike Leigh film with a script already done, and the fact that it wasn't going to take 6 months to just get it on the screen, and David Orkin, it was Channel 4 at the time, and we had it on in months.
Was it a voice you'd done before, Jim, or was it a completely new voice?
No, I found it when I was out for a walk on my own, talking to yourself, as actors sometimes do. And I came across this rather thin aristocratic voice, and it was immediately into a documentary mode as well. "We're looking now at a field of some 200 acres. And I thought, oh, there's a great story here. I can keep him talking until I find out exactly who he is.
And is this a voice you were overhearing, or is it just came to you in a thought process?
It came to me in not even a thought process, really. It was just channeled through from somewhere, from watching too many afternoon documentaries on TV.
How many of your ideas and characters and voices come to you while out walking?
That's the only one. I do. I mean, no. I suppose when I'm, because I don't write really. I'm not a writer. That was more or less the only thing I've written. There's been some other things, small things, but I'm not a writer. So it's. But I do try out things if I've got a part coming up when I'm out on my own.
Can we just talk a little bit about Longford, because it's such an extraordinary work, and we talked about it when it first came out, when it was first shown on the TV. This story of Lord Longford and his relationship with Myra Hindley, and his sort of unshakable belief that nobody was beyond redemption. And I mean, I think it's an extraordinary piece of work because, on the one hand, you understand his desire to see the best in everyone, and yet it's a film that deals with obviously real events, but it very clearly suggests that actually he may be being led astray, that maybe he is being duped. What do you think about the character of Longford, who's so conflicted?
I think that complexity is what it's about, really. So it's I'm still ambivalent about it, I think he is a sort of ambiguous character, and it's I liked him, and I think when Peter Morgan first mooted the idea to me, I think he's forgotten this, but he said, basically he said he wanted to do a hatchet job on this ridiculous man who worked with Mary Whitehouse and did all that, and would I be interested in doing it? And I said, yeah. And then he went off and researched it, and then found out that he actually quite loved the man, and he was much more complicated and interesting, and agreeable, and so the script had a bit of the, that initial sort of let's have a look at this funny, ridiculous, eccentric, but also what an admirable man he was.
Simon, we have a clip from Longford. Can we play that?
We do, yeah. Here we go. Here's a little bit of Jim Broadbent in Longford.
Oh, what did Tree want?
Ah, the mighty Tree. Apparently there's a prisoner in Holloway who specifically asked to see me.
As long as it's not Myra Hindley.
As a matter of fact, it is.
You're not going to go.
Of course. I can't sit on the board of a prison visiting charity and start drawing lines.
Yes, you can. Frank, that woman's inhuman. She's a monster. She murdered innocent young children. We don't even know how many.
But as a prisoner, she's still perfectly entitled to be visited.
Yes, but not necessarily by you. Look, you know I've always supported your penal work, but there are some crimes, some people that are...
What? Unforgivable? Oh, come along, you know what I feel about that. No human being is beyond forgiveness. Condemn people from our armchairs, and what have we become?
It's a clip from Longford, which we're showing tomorrow afternoon at the Screenplay Festival, along with Sense of History, and then in the evening, Topsy Turvy.
Oh, come on, you've got to follow that up with...
No, I'm sorry. I told you were about to go to travel, so I was just leaving a break there if you were immediately going to go to travel.
We're not going to go to travel early, though, are we?
OK, so in that case... So, Jim, the centre of that is this idea that nobody is beyond redemption, that, in fact, Longford's belief, his unshakable belief, was that at the heart of everybody there was goodness. During the course of that extraordinary film, which has got, Andy Serkis and Samantha Morton, the sense all the way through is that he is being played with by her, that actually his belief in her redemption may be entirely foolish. When you were making the film, did you ultimately come to believe that his belief that she was redeemable was correct?
I don't think I've ever felt that. I don't know if that is. I mean, I don't know if everyone felt as you felt that he was being played. I think it is. I think it is rather less definite. I mean, but hopefully it's up to the audience to make up their own mind as to whether he was being played and deceived by her, because there were some people who still do believe that she wasn't beyond redemption. But and I think I met Antonia Fraser not so very long ago, and I think they didn't know really either how Longford was. Whether he was being led by her or not. I think it's a very mysterious area.
Did you go back and watch tapes of him talk? I mean, how...
Oh, yeah. Yes, there's one thing about him. There's a lot of research you can do. So there's, particularly the vocal research, and there's some documentaries. And he's a great character to get into and research.
Stephen Leeds, it's great to have the show back. Jim's performance in Topsy Turvy was superb. Loved the scene where his character demonstrates the walk of the three little maids to Miss Sixpence, please. Wonderful piece of physical comedy from a fantastic movie. And when's Topsy Turvy on, Mark?
Tomorrow night. So it's basically Longford and Sense of History in the afternoon, and then Topsy Turvy is the big evening screening, which we're expecting to be very full.
And now I agree with this text, and I think maybe it's an oversight on behalf of you and her indoors. Never mind Longford, says Sam, aged 5, via Dad, aged 46, in Shropshire. The best Jim film is The Borrowers. We don't like being squished speech is really very good. And I'd forgotten that, but it's a great film, Jim. I think that's a terrific film, and that is a good speech, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I can't remember it, but no, I like the film, and I think it does have a resonance. Lots of good kids films, they come round and round and round, and you always get new fans appearing, and it's certainly got legs.
And speaking of good kids films with legs, did you take much persuading to be Horace Slughorn?
No, not at all. None. No, that's instant.
How much fun was it? I mean, we've spoken to Jason Isaacs a number of times about being the villain, of course, and it's still hanging on in there. I mean, it's still there at number 7, so people are still going in and watching this performance. And you get the impression that it's great fun, and you probably are great mates with half the cast, or maybe all of the cast, but to actually have been in a couple of them, tell us what that's like.
Yeah, I was really only in the one, and then I just went in and did some odd days for the last one. But So the sixth one was really mine, and that was terrific because I had a great part, and David Yates and I knew, so that was the director, so that was a fine reason to do it in any way, apart from the fact that it was being part of a fantastic sort of national institution.
And as it went on, it was sort of, particularly the last one, it was less about the adults really, and all about the children, who of course weren't children by the time it finished. But I imagine that's why Slugger and various other the adult characters sort of had less and less to do as the sequence went through.
Yeah, I think once you get into the battles, it's up to them, isn't it?